of your lips. I have noticed the ways of the violent. My steps have held fast to your paths. My feet have not slipped. Call upon you, for you will answer me. O God, incline your ear to me. Hear my words. Wondrously show your steadfast love. O Savior of those who seek refuge from their adversaries at the right hand. Guard me as the apple of the eye. Hide me in the shadow of your wings from the wicked who despoil me, my deadly enemies who surround me. And from Mark, as he taught, he said, beware of the scribes who like to walk around in long robes and be greeted with respect at the marketplaces, and to have the best seats at the synagogues and places of honor at banquets. They devour widows' houses for the sake of appearance, say long prayers. They will receive the greater condemnation. He sat down opposite the treasury and watched the crowd putting money into the treasury. Many rich people put in large sums. A poor widow came and put in 2 small copper coins, which are worth a penny. Then he called his disciples and said to them, truly, I tell you, this poor widow has put in more than all of those who are contributing to the treasury. For all of them have contributed out of their abundance, but she, out of her poverty, has put in everything she had, all she had to live on. May these words from Psalms and Mark inspire us to live for love. Thanks be to God.
Well, here we are, the first Sunday of Lent. We might have titled the sermon series for Lent into Easter, Prepositions Matter. Each week, we are going to take a look at how we frame our relationship to God's wisdom. It's astonishing the difference the little connective words can make in those relationships. If you have read or watched The Handmaid's Tale, you know the phrase, under his eye. In Gilead, it is a greeting, a warning, a threat disguised as piety. It means you are being watched. It means conform. It means your body is not your own. It is a theology of surveillance. Just think about that as a concept for a moment. A theology of surveillance. A God conscripted into patriarchy, an omniscience weaponized. And if we are honest, that phrase doesn't feel entirely fictional anymore. In our headlines, in legislative chambers, in debates about whose bodies can do what and belong to whom, there are echoes of Gilead, or precursors or parallels. Women's bodies scrutinized, marginalized bodies policed, reproductive choices litigated, identities monitored. Under his eye isn't a comfort, it's a means of control. But Psalm 17 offers us a radically different vision. The psalmist prays, guard me as the apple of your eye, hide me in the shadow of your wings. This is not the eye of a tyrant. This is not the gaze of a regime. This is not a camera mounted on the wall. The Hebrew phrase translated apple of the eye refers to the pupil, the darkest center, the deepest blackness where light enters, the most vulnerable part. The psalmist does not ask to be surveilled. She asks to be cradled in the depths of love. And there's a world of difference. Surveillance says, I am watching to catch you. Love says, I am watching to protect you. Surveillance isolates. Guarding gathers. In Gilead, under his eye means your movements are recorded, your compliance measured, your fertility tracked. The eye is a tool of power. In Psalm 17, being the apple of God's eye means you are precious beyond measure. You are held in the most sensitive place of divine being. One eye reduces you to a function, the other treasures you as beloved. The psalmist's God spreads wings. Under his wing is not a metaphor of control, but of shelter. It is a mother bird covering her young from hawks and storms. It is warmth, proximity, breath. The psalmist wanted refuge, not regulation, intimacy, not inspection. We are spirits in bodies, and bodies not only feel it when we are being watched, we can also often feel the flavor of observation. There's the prickle on the back of the neck when someone is watching you with ill intent, and there's the emotional tug to look up when a parent or partner is gazing upon you. Our bodies sometimes know before our brains what it means to be watched. Our bodies feel the pressure of laws debated in rooms we will never enter. We feel the weight of public discourse that questions our dignity. We feel the quiet calculation of what is safe to say, where it is safe to stand, how visible to be. When the world feels like Gilead, even in fragments, our nervous systems tighten, shoulders rise, breath shortens, sleep thins. The psalmist knew something of that tension. She speaks of enemies who track her, who surround her, who close their hearts to pity. She feels hunted. And yet, she does not ask to disappear. She asks to be guarded. There's a profound theological claim here. God's seeing is not the same as the state's watching. God's gaze does not confiscate your body. God's gaze restores your soul. In the 12th chapter of the Gospel of Mark, Jesus sits opposite the treasury and watches. Perhaps that detail should unsettle us a little, at least give us pause. He watches. The scribes come in their long robes. They love to be seen. They devour widows' houses and say long prayers for show. And then comes the widow. She drops in her 2 small copper coins, her whole life. The system sees her coins. Jesus sees the system. The system is under his eye. Jesus sees the widow. She is under his wing. The temple economy consumes her livelihood, and yet she gives in faith. Is Jesus praising her sacrifice or exposing the violence of a system that asks a poor woman for everything? Perhaps he is doing what prophets do, revealing what the eye of power refuses to see. The widow lives under many eyes: religious authority, economic structure, social expectation, her body, her poverty, her piety, all visible, scrutinized, and exploited. And still she acts with faith. But hear this carefully. The text does not command us to romanticize her depletion. When our spirits and bodies are already taxed by politics, by economics, by social hostility, by personal grief, what is expected of us? Are we always called to give our last coin? Or are we sometimes called to step under the sheltering wing? In Gilead, under his eye means obedience or punishment. In the psalm, under God's wing means safety in the storm. The sinister eye narrows possibility. The sheltering wing expands breath. The psalmist wanted to be held in the deepest blackness, not the blackness of disappearance, but the blackness where vision begins, the blackness that soaks in the light. In the pupil, light is received. In that vulnerable center, love meets her. To be the apple of God's eye is to be precious, not policed. To be under God's wing is to be shielded, not silenced. The God of Psalm 17 is not a celestial warden. She is fierce with tenderness. She guards the vulnerable places within us, and perhaps that is the word for us. In anxious times, faith communities sometimes preach relentless sacrifice. Give more, do more, endure more, be braver. I have certainly preached this. And it isn't wrong, but it also isn't complete. The psalmist teaches another posture. Cry out. Ask to be guarded. Refuse to be devoured. The widow's offering is holy, but so is survival. If you are exhausted, if your body feels scrutinized, if your spirit feels thin, you are not failing God by needing shelter. You cannot make a difference from a place of depletion. Wings are not hiding places, they are strengthening places. The chick comes out from under the wing not smaller, but steadier. And what should a community of faith be if not a collective place of shelter, an oasis in which to build our conviction and a practice ground for shared response? We do not gather to escape the world. We gather to remember who we are in it. This is why Wellness Connections, Hearts, all of what we do is so important. Real difference rarely begins with grand gestures. It begins with meals shared, calls made, rides given, advocacy written, presence offered. The courage of this moment may not always be in dramatic sacrifice. It may be in refusing to let systems of surveillance define your worth. It may be in believing that God's eye is not a spotlight of judgment, but a cradle of care. And when you know you are loved like that, not inspected but cherished, you can act without fear of losing yourself. You can give without being devoured. You can speak without shrinking. You can build something here that looks more like wing than watchtower. We live in a world where under his eye should sound ominous. See how those little words matter? Within God's eye, you are the most precious part. Under God's wing, you are safe enough to rest. Under surveillance, we shrink. Under love, we live.